Syria's most vulnerable are suffering, and survival is traumatic. Despite all the coaxing from the young cousin now looking after her, Amal won't talk. The 5-year-old saw her whole family die in a bombing. She's hardly spoken since.
برافو 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 حركيها لشوف هيك بس رجلك هون عمو لفوق لتحت ما تحسي فيها حبيبتي. No
response from Amal. The doctors say she'll recover from her own injuries, but the trauma will take much longer to get over, if ever. We pray Bashar al-Assad dies, she says, and the same things happen to his children. The shop owner gave us this CCTV. It's Wednesday around 10:30 in Sarakib in Idlib, and they're taking cover from their government warplanes. This is what civilians in Idlib are up against. Russian propaganda footage shows the regime troops taking key towns in Idlib like Khan Shaykhun, held by the rebels for 5 years. They've discovered tunnels with weapons. The regime justifies the attacks, saying Idlib is run by terrorists. There's also footage of underground hospitals. The regime claims they're decoys to harbour fighters. But hospitals have been systematically targeted by the regime. This was Rama Hospital a week ago. This is how it looks now. That was the first hit, he says. The second was there. A third was inside. There were 4 altogether. It was the last functioning hospital in southeast Idlib, now reduced to rubble. This is an oxygen bottle, he tells us. Is oxygen a threat to Bashar al-Assad? What has Putin found in Syria that justifies hitting hospitals? This is to help humans breathe. We found much evidence suggesting this was an operating hospital with patients up until the day of bombing. Attacking medical facilities is an international war crime.
You can see this was all operational. There's still medicines in the cupboards. One of the few operating hospitals in this area.
The tactic is forcing tens of thousands of civilians in this last rebel territory in Syria to pack up and flee towards the Turkish border.
It's all right.
The area is controlled by groups deemed by Britain and America to be extremist terror outfits, with a strict interpretation of Islam and bound together only by a hatred of the Assad regime. But there are millions of civilians here too, who are moderates, but have found themselves on the same side after fleeing the regime several times and are now on the move again.
A lot of the village has emptied over the past few days. They're not hanging around for any more shelling or bombing.
They're all now cornered in Idlib, with little land to escape to, but still defiant. We will stay here, he says. We just want our families safe and our furniture secure, but we will stay fighting and we'll hit them till we finish them off completely. Those who can't or won't leave have retreated underground. Women and small children spend their days now cowering in caves whilst they wait for information about the attacks above. Life in Idlib is spent dodging the aircraft and spotter drones used for launching attacks. The few functioning hospitals are filled with the battered bodies of civilians, whilst the staff despair at the world's indifference.
I want to say to people who do this murder, they have to get what they deserve.
There won't be peace until there is justice in Syria?
There is no justice in Syria or in the world. There is no justice.
But no one is listening to Syria's cries. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Idlib.